There's a very big angel devil dynamic here. Oh, my hand's going the opposite way I wanted to. I guess it doesn't matter because I don't know where I am on your guys' screen.
You're on the bottom, so you're literally just pointing at me and then
Angel.
yeah, that's better.
Angel devil dynamic.
Which one's which, though?
Whoa, that's true. I guess
Depends what I
to be discovered.
We all know I'm the angel.
Okay.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of On the Porch with Front Porch Music. Once again, it's me, producer Jason. This week on the Porch, we have Mackenzie Leigh Meyer, and yes, that is Meyer like the Oscar Wiener. In this episode, her, along with Logan and Jenna, talk about how she's one of Front Porch's OGs, how she won Roots Artist of the Year, what it's like playing an arena, and so much more. This is definitely an extensive episode. As always, if you like On the Porch with Front Porch Music, please leave us a rating on whatever podcast platform you choose. And we will catch you again in 2 weeks for the season finale of On the Porch with Front Porch Music. Until then, enjoy the episode and take care.
We're here today with Mackenzie Leigh Meyer. Hello.
Hello. Thank you guys for having me. So nice to see you.
Welcome to the porch, my friend.
Thank you. I know. I think this is my first time officially on the porch.
Yeah. I mean, we spoke a million years ago, just when we first started, and you were in the Boots and Hearts Emerging Artist Showcase.
Yes.
And I distinctly remember sitting on some Muskoka chair somewhere talking to you.
Yes, I know. I think we were in the VIP section.
Oh, of course.
There was like a spot. I mean, sorry, we were in the VIP section. Yeah. No, but I do remember that. And that was like pretty inaugural for Front Porch, right? Because that your first.
I think that might have been our first active year as a publication. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow. Well, so nice to be back all these years later. You guys are doing so great.
Right back at you.
I can't believe it
thank
took
you.
us this long to have you.
I mean, that is life, you know. Well, hey, I'm happy to be here, and I was happy to be here then. So yeah, thank you for including me.
Wow, our little
pleasure.
come up journeys are like side by side now.
I know, and honestly, having it be like a while between two different like times we get to talk to someone is like, wow, well, we've grown a lot. Now there's a whole ton of stuff we could talk about because it's been so long since we've been able to like watch each other glow up, if you will.
Do you remember your first interviews where people were always just like, so who are you? Where did you come from?
Yeah, you know what? I'm still pretty indie, so a lot of the time I get people who don't know how to pronounce my name.
What's hard what's hard about your name?
Meyer. I gets Mayer all the time. I just got sent back photos from a festival I just did recently, and the guy called me Mackenzie Leigh Miller. And I'm like, man, like this was like all over. Like
that's not even kind of right.
Not even kind of close. Like people spell Meyer wrong all the time. Like instead of M.
Gotta keep you humble.
oh yeah. So I am. If there's anything in this industry that I am, is humble because no one remembers how to say or spell my name. So thank you guys for doing it right.
Oh, that's so. When I first, I think, followed you on Instagram, I saw that you had like Oscar Mayer Wiener in your bio. I don't know if you still do, but I was like, why is that a hard one? But apparently it is a hard one. You literally people just don't.
Yeah, and I thought that was like a funny way to approach that because it's usually when anyone who's met me before or like talked to me at all, like it's pretty, they're like, oh, Meyer, like, you know, yada, yada, yada. Anyone who like reads it out online, like sometimes in radio stuff and they've never met me and I'm like new to them, I noticed that it kind of ends up being Mayers or there's, you know, who knows what the reason is. People maybe not doing as much homework as they should have, but
maybe you could roll with that. You're like John Mayer's love child. I don't know.
John Mayer and Oscar Mayer Wiener's love child.
You heard it here first.
You heard it here first.
This guy would, not that he's gonna hear this at all, but imagine that guy probably is like, oh shit, do I have a child over there? I don't know, maybe.
I honestly imagine there's that thought going through his head. I don't know him that well. I don't know him at all. I don't know him that well. I don't know. Yeah, me and John only met a couple times on the internet or in my dreams, but yeah, I'm sure he's thought that one or two times before.
I'm sure he lives his life every day like that.
Well, hey man, that's certainly a life.
Okay. Before we get off track super far, because this happened.
Before we get a cease and desist.
That's true. Okay,
we
calming it
haven't done
down.
those
Calming it
before.
down.
For those who may not know you, why don't you give us your like elevator pitch? Like, who are you? Where the heck did you come from?
Yeah. Well, I guess you guys got a formal spiel on my full name. It's Mackenzie Leigh Meyer. I grew up in Ancaster, Ontario, which is just kind of up the mountain from Hamilton. And I mean, I grew up with a family that wasn't really into music other than me, and so I played a bunch of piano growing up, and honestly had your pretty typical like singers, I don't know, grown up like phases. Like I played piano, I did a little bit of musical theater. Hamilton, where I'm from, has a ton of support for kind of the arts, so I was lucky enough to kind of get to be involved in what we then called the HMAs, which was our Hamilton Music Awards. They kind of like celebrated the community, so it was nice to kind of have opportunities for that. Kind of when I was a teenager, I started writing songs. I don't know if there's like a really good journey to that. I just kind of loved being creative on piano, and that kind of evolved into actually singing a little bit. And then I decided to go and get a music degree from Humber. And that's kind of where I ended up now. I'm in Etobicoke these days. That's just kind of like right down from where Humber's campus is. And yeah, just kind of met my band there, and ever since then, graduating, it's been a small while since I graduated, but just been kind of grinding it out in the country music scene.
Why country music? Where did that, was that always part of your?
Ooh. You know what? It definitely wasn't like my identity growing up. I like to say that Ancaster is half like suburb, half country, and it kind of like, and my friends in high school happened to be pretty redneck for what we could consider in Canada redneck. And I think maybe hanging out with them and listening to the music that they liked, that definitely influenced me to like country more, because I definitely did not come up like with rootin' tootin' parents that I was like born on, you know, George Jones and all these other like infamous, like well-to-do by country artists, that I kind of came into after. But I think just based on having that influence, it influenced my writing, and that just kind of felt like the right spot for me to kind of put my art, if you will.
Yeah. For sure.
And I lean on the like roots side. So I'm not like, you know, right into country, but that seems like the right, I guess, category to put me in, if you will.
For sure. Lean into the root side casually as if you were not nominated and won Roots Artist of the Year at the CMAOntario Awards this year.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I mean that was pretty surprising. I mean, super
you
flattering.
looked so shocked. It was the sweetest thing ever.
I was like at the back of the auditorium, like I was nowhere close. Not like, oh, like I'm just gonna stand like right next to the stage just in case I win. Like no, I was like dead ass at the back. I don't know.
You
if
had to sprint to the front.
I was so far. I was like I was hanging out with Graham Scott Fleming. We were just like, we should just like make sure we're in the theater to hear this, because I'm like, oh, you never know. Like,
let's see who I'm losing to.
yeah. I'm like, let's see who I'm losing to this year. Like, that's my third nomination. So I'm like, you know, I'm ready to just clap, and you know, you make your sore loser faces. And what I did not prepare was a gracious winner face. That's for sure, because I, you know, like I was like, what? Like I was shocked, and honestly, like you always prepare like a couple of thank yous, but I definitely wish I had been like, hey, here's like my formal thank you so much. But yeah, that one was pretty special because my mom was there, and I'm from Hamilton, which they were at this year. So apparently my mom cried. I wasn't next to her when it happened, but hearing that, I'm like, oh, like that's what kind of makes it worth it. So thank you, CMAOntario, for making my mom cry.
And then you were whisked away backstage for a whirlwind of media stuff.
Yes.
And that just never seemed to end, because I was back there too. Not with you, but I was back there too.
No, it was definitely like a media experience. And again, obviously that's my first award. So I had no idea that was kind of the expectation. And well, I mean, I'm happy to do a bunch of interviews. I love doing that. So I'm just like, wow, everything's making me feel so like special right now. People want to talk to me and take my photo. But yeah, definitely a really cool experience for me this year getting that.
Yeah.
So going back to that journey to that moment, I guess, ultimately to that moment, and many more to come, I'm sure. You kind of made the rounds playing in different dive bars and a lot of different bars. You called yourself, or I don't know if you still call yourself, the Divebar Diva.
I do.
Love that name, by the way.
Thank you.
So like, what's the wildest kind of dive bar that you ever played at? You don't have to name names, but just like kind of like the diviest of cringy grossness.
Spill them.
I mean, it's hard to pick one. No, but the reason I'll explain why that name came about, because there was like one bar where I had a moment where I'm like, wow, like I'm the Divebar Diva, because this bar is so divey and I'm dressed like, you know, I'm performing at the Ritz or something like that. But it was ooh, what year was this? It might have been like 2013, 2014, when I was like for sure when I was just coming up. I was working with this quote unquote booking agent, and they just did some pretty like casual like pubs and bars that were like kind of your 9 to 1 bar band stuff, and he was getting us work, so I was taking it, and most of the time it was pretty good work. We would just play some country covers at some kind of like restaurant type places, get our money and get out of there. And then this one time he just kind of told us to go to this bar, and I will say where it is, I won't say what bar it is, in Kitchener. He's like, hey, like drive out here and you'll play from 3 sets and then you'll go home. We're like, great. So we do that. We go to set up. This guy had never been to this bar, and he failed to mention that. He just kind of like booked it at us, and like we went there, and we step into this bar, and it is like a bar you would be afraid to like go in if you were just like stepping around the corner somewhere. Like,
see, Jenna's cocking her head like this because this is her neck of the woods, and she's thinking of every bar in that area right now, trying to figure out which one it is.
I mean, I'm happy to tell you later, Jenna, but there's no way that you've ever stepped in there. It was like kind of like,
I don't know. Jenna's pretty sketchy.
Oh my yeah, Jenna, just sketchy vibes. All right, so it's your favorite bar. No, it's so we get in there and we're like, oh, like this is definitely a dive. Like we're not gonna linger here longer than we need to, but we are been hired to be here, and we've already driven an hour to get here, so we're gonna set up and kind of do our thing and not cause issues. Yeah, get out. In the course of the time that we were there were 3 bar fights, like just amongst people being too drunk. And these are some pretty hard looking people. Okay. It's not like me and Jenna fighting because, you know, for no reason at all, like some dumb catty fight. Like these are like, I'm like, this is like a biker war or something like that. And we're like, wow, we are like not safe here. Not that anything happened. Nothing happened. Like no one like gave us trouble, but it was like the place had not been cleaned since the summer. It was it was wintertime when we were there. Like there were like dead bees like on tables, and like we had no light above us, and the waitress like.
So you're singing in the shadows.
Oh, okay. Well, yes, but we got there like, hey, this light's not working. The waitress like, okay, no problem. She walks across the other side of the bar, like say like my other living room behind me here, distance, walks over there, unscrews a light that's like on top of that area. She's like standing on their pool table undoing it, pulls that light bulb out. First off, why was that not burning her fingers? Secondly, comes back over and then screws it into our spot where we were supposed to like play, and then it like goes on for like a bit and then it just dies, and I'm like, what a waste of energy. But also, what? So anyways, that was the dive bar that definitely made me feel like I'm the Divebar Diva, because on top of that, I was dressed really nice. I had like curled my hair, like you try and look a little like pretty good for your gigs, and I showed up and it was that place, and I'm like, why did I wear a dress?
What was the point?
Hair? Yeah, and it's like, and people, no one was mean, like everyone was nice to us. It was just like one of those things where I'm like, I can't, it's too sketchy. Like, so at some point I got it. Yeah, I can't come back. Sorry, guys.
Oh, that's so funny. So it obviously wasn't anywhere I've ever been, because I've never been scared at a bar in Kitchener. So
I would be like floored if you had ever been there before. And it was one of those like sports bar types. Like they were watching the Leafs game while we were there, and it wasn't like it's not like a big chain or nothing, but like the crowd there was there to watch the Leafs game and apparently brawl. So that's what it was.
I feel like you could have put some background music to those fights. Could have been kind of funny.
You know what? I wish I could remember what we were playing when they fighted, because we just kept playing. Like we're like, well, we're not going to be like, oh, fight, like over our PA and whatever. It's like, we'll just gotta be. But I'm like, they're fighting to stuff like Footloose and Any Man of Mine, like just your like typical, like we were playing country, like that's what we were hired to do. So it's like,
so
that's
The Divebar Diva is a professional.
she has paid her dues at some spots, that's for sure.
Yeah, no kidding.
That's really funny too, because when I would go to the Stampede Corral in Kitchener, I was like, this place is rowdy.
See, I love the Corral. I used to play there religiously.
Did
and
you?
like that place is fun. Like
Okay,
that
but
there is
people always fought there too, and I thought it had to do with it being too open and there being like, because like Dallas nightclub never had a problem, but I think when you mix live music and too big of a space, people start to think they have more than they do, and they get on each other's toes, and people get way too drunk. And the Corral, like, it was fine, but I think I got scared sometimes because people had broken bottles in the air, and I'm like, I could kill someone. I'm going home.
Yeah, there's definitely some like young egos there that are like, oh, I just want to like, oh, you stepped on my toe dancing, like I'm gonna beat you up, like, and that. Yeah, I think those rooms have never really been able to escape that, but I've never really thought about it being a layout issue. I wonder if that's like part of the problem.
Connor Weiser, I'm talking to you.
Is he the one doing the fighting?
When the second my brother turned 19, I would see him and his friends out, and I'd be like, I am too small to go in there, but I'd like,
yeah,
stop. My cousins would be like, get away. And I'm like, you're gonna go to jail. This isn't like funny bar fight. This is jail. Put those weapons down. What the hell?
I can't wait for your brother to hear this.
He doesn't listen,
like
don't worry.
I feel like people forget it's literally assault. Like, well, you could like you can get charged for that. Like it's
Yeah.
Like you want a criminal record, like have a blast. Like for me, I just think it's such a dumb way to resolve any type of like emotion. Like
Agreed.
Get someone else kicked out. Like don't get yourself kicked out because then your night's over. Like sorry, but
literally,
obviously alcohol and just general anger does not mix well, and I guess people pay the price for that sometimes. But hopefully not your brother.
Yeah, no, I'll yell, I'll get mouthy, but I'm not fighting anybody. No, mostly because I think I'm blues, but
yeah,
I have this complex. My cousin and I at Boots and Hearts this year were talking about this because we saw people fighting, and I was like, see, we both have the same complex where I'm like, if that were me, I don't care if I'm 5'2", I'd win the fight. And she's like, me too. I'm like, we probably wouldn't though. She's like, yeah,
I feel you. I have big time Chihuahua energy, which is probably what I would call that.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, you want to go. But I'm like, I'm 5'4". Like you're not getting like a height advantage. I might be able to like take someone out because their center of gravity is just like way higher than me. But like that is my only benefit, like, and maybe just, having the right attitude to kick some butt.
I can do it. Wow.
I could do it. The mentality.
I think I'm just too lazy. Like that's a lot of effort.
That's fair.
That is fair. That'll keep you out of trouble.
Yeah. That's a good way. That's a good lazy. I wish I had more lazy that way.
A good lazy. Okay. Let's we love the dive bar stories, but maybe we aren't inciting violence at the club.
That's true. We're not trying to incite violence. Don't listen to us.
No.
We're not playing those clubs anymore.
No.
True.
No, you can turn down those venues, right? Yes,
we can. And also being obviously not on the dance floor, I'm not the one getting.
You're right.
Brawls. So even if I'm a little like, if there's like some of those places have like fences across. I don't know if you guys ever went to Boots and Bourbon in Toronto. Oh, it was like Rock and Horse, like one of those just like country bars. They used to have like a fence, like a metal fence, like across the front of the stage, so people couldn't throw bottles and stuff at it. Drunk people, which I mean, I've never seen a stage do that, but I guess that must have been a problem there for them to even think about having that as like something they need for the bar atmosphere. Like, but anyways, yes, it's been a while since I've been in a bar where
you've definitely graduated, because earlier this year you were playing to some giant arenas.
That's definitely just like a mild step up, I think, from feeling unsafe to
Like,
playing an arena.
You joined with Robin Ottolini's band to play for the Queen of Me tour with Shania.
I did. That was definitely a crazy twist that this year had for me. But
No kidding. Talk about a difference between a biker bar to like arenas across the country.
I mean, definitely.
I'm sure there were still fights there, but
fights that we couldn't see though, because you're right. It was an arena, which is wild. Like, obviously, that's my first arena tour ever, and honestly, like, not something I ever thought I would accomplish in my life. And so stoked that Robin really wanted to kind of have me on board. She's like a really big supporter of women in music. I know you guys just had Nicole Ray. Robin to me is like a top 2 for that. She's always trying to do things that support other women, and her music in general is also like very like femme forward, like, and so it was a really big treat to get to join a camp like that. But yeah, she basically wanted another female in her band, and because I had gone through kind of the schooling, like, I am an artist, but I'm also a musician, and sometimes artists are not both those things, and I love working as a musician just on the side of being an artist as well. And they kind of auditioned me as like someone who could be in that, and then ended up picking me for that, and that obviously that tour, and I've kind of done all her dates this summer as well. So yeah, it's been a crazy, very
no
busy,
kidding,
but happy year.
I've had the privilege of seeing you perform with Robin, not at a Shania show, but and you looked so great and comfortable on the stage with her. But I can only imagine the first show where you're on that tour to a giant arena. Like, obviously you've prepped yourself in your head, like, this is going to be weird, wild, and cool. But yeah, like, when it got to the time of actually stepping out onto that stage, what was going through your head? Was it like a oh shit moment?
You know what? I felt like surprisingly cool. And I feel like I've performed like a lot, obviously not in an arena, but they're kind of like coming up through Humber and coming up in the scene. I've done this about 8 years. Like, I used to play every weekend, and these are like long haul shows, like not artist shows, like 4-hour sets, and you're always entertaining. I think just having the kind of muscle memory of what it means to be to perform translates everywhere. And for me, I really felt that on that tour, because I'm like, am I going to be nervous? Like, this is an arena full of people. Like, I'm new to this band. Like, this is kind of a big deal to have Robin's, like, I would say top show of the year, like, in the first month for me of working with her. I'm like, oh my God, like, this is so much to kind of like deal with. But I've honestly, like, I wasn't nervous, which I was really kind of like stoked for myself for, because obviously when you feel that way, you show it performing. But I would say this, like, to a T, I would so much rather perform, well, in an arena, I would so much rather perform for 20,000 people who I can't like really, really identify, rather than 5 people in a room who are like,
I say that too. I mean, not about performing, because I'll be shitting myself if I'm performing, but like, even just like I'd rather talk in front of 10,000 people than like what you just said. Like,
yeah,
when it's that many people, they become almost like one person.
Yes, and it becomes like a thing rather than like someone I have to make eye contact with, which obviously you do a little bit on that stuff, but you're pretty limited to who you can make eye contact with on a thing.
The first 3 rows.
The first 3 rows, and it's darkness and lights. Like, so for me, like, that felt really easy, because there was never that pressure to like really be on, because the 5 people who are watching me couldn't really see me, and I'm watching them judging whether or not they like me. Like, where on those shows, you're just like kind of a performer, like an actor, and you're just presenting that to whoever decides to watch, which I find that a lot easier than making sure people care. And it's different for me too. Like, being Robin in that setting,
for sure,
might have been a way different experience. Getting to kind of be a support to what she's doing is obviously a super different role. I'm not commanding an audience other than when I have the moments to, and that definitely, I can only speak on being in that role, but I wonder if it would be different if, if you were the front person being like, hey, everyone, hope you care about what I'm saying.
For sure.
But
that is so interesting. Did you see Shania on the tour at all? Because I've spoken to openers who never saw a glimpse of her.
We did just at the very end, and it like almost didn't happen. Like, we kind of asked, being like, hey, like, is there a possibility we could grab a photo? And they were pretty gracious, and they we kind of just did like a quick, like mainly Robin, like Robin got her photo, got to talk to her for a little bit, and then we got a band photo, but she's not at the arena. Like she definitely doesn't float there at all, and
hangs out for the day.
Yeah, which obviously you never
checking on the crew.
Yeah, you never expect Shania to just be like at the arenas, like, you know, in her pajamas, like hanging out. But yeah, she kind of rolled in like right before her set and then left right after. And hey, when you're Shania Twain, like that's exactly how I would do it.
You've earned it.
Yep.
So you did go on your first arena tour, and that was super exciting. Did you learn anything new? Was there like a big learning curve?
I mean, there's a lot to take in about a show of that size that I think obviously I had no register for previously. Like I've never even been close to a stage on an arena tour. So like getting to see the like just production value that goes into that, and you know the amount of work that's to get that stage there and to get the band in, and you know kind of everything involved, like the catering, the stuff like that was all a learning curve to me because I'd never been even close to something like that. So I would say for sure for me, like big takeaways are just like understanding what being on the road for something like that is like. So if I ever get there with kind of my own thing and I'm opening for someone in an arena, or maybe one day headlining my own arena, that I have like a good grasp of, or a fairly good grasp of what it kind of means to do that.
Mm-hmm. I feel like it's one of those experiences where you don't know until you just do it.
Yeah, like definitely nothing could have prepared me for that. Like it's not like you can rent an arena and just practice what it's like to stand on a stage like that and look out at people. Like there's nothing that prepares you for that, like other than just what you kind of already learned. I guess it's like running like a marathon in a way. I know some people like never run the full distance until like the day of, and then you kind of like see if you can do it. But
even just the idea of running that distance, period,
is a no for me.
I'm not running unless I'm running away from something. Like
you should also go. If I'm running, you better pick it up too.
That's perfect. We'll just all run away from the fights we don't want to be in and leave the marathon running for other people.
Yeah.
Straight up. I actually want to ask you a little bit about your back to being the front woman, the front person at Music in the Fields. How was that?
Yes.
This year?
It looked really great.
Yeah.
It was so fun. Like I had the chance to do that festival in 2019 on the emerging artist stage. I know you guys know Owen pretty well, kind of the same path where you kind of like got in that contest. And ever since then, I've been hoping to play back at the festival because they were just so hospitable in that moment. Like the people who are there want to come watch music and they don't know who I am then. And they're happy to like let an emerging artist like backstage for their catering stuff and just like take whatever you want, like, which is not always the case for an emerging artist. Sometimes there's a bit more
there's like stupid tiers of like
access. where they're like, hey, like, no, you're still kind of like a fan, this is an opportunity, which totally respect because you're just trying to keep things running smoothly. This year, so since then I've been like, oh man, this festival's so fun, the people are so nice, I'm dying to come back. And when I got that one, like, I guess in an email being like, hey, we'd like to have you, like, that was like just the, such a great day. And and then the festival itself, by the time we got there, because it's the end of the summer, so I'm like, this is gonna be my like big last one, and it was amazing. Like people were so accommodating, like they wanted to listen, and it's just like a festival like that, like it's just people have such good energy, like no one's there to tear you down, like they just want to be presented whatever you're doing and they want to come say hi. Like I got to meet a bunch of people, which was really nice. And it was really special. Great way to end the summer.
No kidding. We need to jump into your form of satire and your music a little bit because it's the best, because you're so sweet and polite and then you jump in with this sassy music and you're like, this girl has fire.
Yeah, some very clever lyrics.
So we're talking Dial Tone and we're talking Barbie Doll. And I just want to talk about how you deliver a very key, strong message of, like, in Dial Tone, shutting the fuck up.
Yep.
And in Barbie Doll, let's talk about women and standards, and you still make it very funny. So
oh my gosh, well, thank you. I'm so flattered you think that.
I think it's people relate to things better when it's not just like, this is how it is,
No, and definitely like the last thing I wanted, especially for Barbie Doll, is for it to sound like me being like bossy to people about how things should be, because that is not how you communicate a message that matters, because then people don't want to listen. So I'm so glad that neither of those tunes kind of sound like I'm being like pushy per se, but yeah, I don't know. I think satire needs to be involved in that stuff because it just makes people want to listen to it and enjoy like what you're saying. And, you know, like those are true experiences I've had and like ways that I felt about society. So it was pretty easy to pull, I mean, dial tone out of my butt, because there are conversations where I've just been really annoyed about what someone was saying, and or they're just like not paying attention to me, or what they're saying is just like really dull. Like, what's like, why bother to share this information and keep me here? Like, but anyways,
you're wasting my time.
You're wasting my time, and you know, like time is valuable, and it's just one of those things where I'm laughing that you guys think I'm sweet and nice, but I was too polite to be like, hey, like, and you know, you never want to look like a jerk and be like, hey, like you're actually super boring, like I'm gonna just exit now.
Goodbye.
Or like I just don't agree with what you're saying, like half, you know, that song felt like a shade political, and it's like like I don't know, like I don't agree with these, but I'm just gonna save face, but I'll write about it later, that's for sure.
That's so funny.
And they're catchy as hell.
Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you.
Dial tone.
You know what? That part almost did not get in it because I felt really silly going dun it, but I'm like it kind of sounds like
iconic.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad I was working with Jeff Dalzell for that one. I'm so glad he's like, no, like we're putting this everywhere. It's gonna go after every chorus, because they just had it at the very end originally, and he's like, no, it's like really catchy. Like,
yeah.
I'm like, okay, like I like put it in a little bit. I'm like, let me see what he thinks, and that's, I guess, kudos to Jeff. He kind of made the call on having that everywhere, which, if it's iconic, it's his responsibility, I guess I would say. So thank you, Jeff.
You can almost hear the eye roll when you're saying that part too.
I was definitely honing some like sass vibes trying to deliver that. So that's good that it sounds like I'm rolling my eyes, because I would be doing that in real life.
That's so funny. Also, when you make something so easy for people to remember, by the next chorus, they're like singing that part with you, right? If anything, they've got that part down.
That's true. If I were to ever do a call and answer, like that would be the only part. I'd be like, sing this part. I'd be like, I'm like, yeah. You guys can't really sing, but that's okay. You can go do it.
You can do it.
I'm gonna try that at my next show for sure.
Please do.
Barbie Doll has the same kind of, like I said, like satire, where you're making it light, but you're also like punching the message in the face still without being annoying, you know?
Well, thank you. I'm glad that you think it's like obviously like catchy and not annoying, which was definitely my biggest goal in that too, and is to not, you know, have it come across like I'm trying to push people around. But yeah, I don't know, like again, like with that one, like just a ton of like real world things that I think are really stupid to kind of impose on women. And I don't just feel that way about women. Like I think, you know, guys having to be told that they're macho and like, you know, like get a lot of girls makes them like manly and like stuff like that. Like I just think,
yeah.
Like, yeah. I just think stuff like that.
That never felt so gross in my life. I've never felt so toxic.
Hey man, we're taking the toxic down, but oh my god, like there's no toxic person in this group. But
Jenna.
Oh, Jenna pointed at herself. Okay, well,
you didn't see me like peak CMAOs when I was practicing my gaslighting on everybody, okay?
Yo, gaslighting as a hobby is sometimes fun to people who you know suck. No hate.
No, she was practicing on me.
I was practicing on him and Eli.
Oh no! Oh my god, Eli would find that funny.
He literally was like, "Are you gaslighting me?" And I was like,
"Just practicing."
I don't think so. Do you feel like you're being gaslit? And he's like, and I was like, "It's working."
Oh my god! Wow, that's my gaslighting. With just talking about gaslighting is my all-time favorite gaslight. So,
literally, Meg taught me that so fast.
Just for fun, everybody. We're not really mean. Just for fun.
It's for the joke. It's for the bit. Okay.
It's for the bit. Commit to the bit. Anyways, yes. No. Obviously, like I feel that way about. I feel just as poorly about toxic masculinity as I feel about having that, you know, hyper feminine ideology for women, because I just don't think these, you know, ideologies make sense in modern time anymore. I don't think they made sense back then. And yeah, I just think people should get to be how we are, because it's not black and white. We're just like a spectrum of different humans doing our thing. So yeah, that's why I kind of inspired Barbie Doll, but wanted to keep it funny and cool, because that's because what I just said there is a little too serious to be cool and funny. But yeah, gotta say the important stuff still.
But you figured it out.
Mackenzie Leigh Meyer, funny and cool.
Wow, I'll take it.
My Yelp review. It's my Yelp review.
Okay, perfect. Yes, please add some good Yelp reviews. We love funny and cool. I'll take it.
5 out of 5 does recommend. Yes.
Oh my god, yes.
Would shop here again.
Yeah.
All right, I'm getting my Google going. I'm writing to you guys to make some reviews.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I was gonna mention this earlier, but I kind of forgot. Somewhere along the line, you taught yourself to play guitar, didn't you?
Yes. Like I definitely, like I kind of had a class in high school that sort of taught us, and then I picked it up kind of after that. But I learned guitar so that I didn't have to like pay someone else in my band. Yeah.
Smart.
Because yeah, and I know like a lot of artists are kind of taking that route as well, like just because it gets expensive when you're doing gigs that don't pay a ton and you got to hire like a bunch of other people already. So for me, I was like, yeah, like I want to be able to do that myself in situations where so I can make more money early on. And now obviously to express art on guitar, like I grew up playing piano, so I kind of already had that in the bag. But you know, different songs get written on different instruments, and for me now I find guitar is kind of the main thing I sit and play. Obviously it's more convenient.
Yeah, it's more portable.
Lighter.
And lugging your piano around, but this is gonna sound so nerdy. They speak differently, these two instruments, so it's nice to be functional.
Wow.
I know.
Wow.
I also grew up playing piano, and I found it very difficult to transition to guitar. Like it just didn't translate from my head to my fingers. And so like, did you find that difficult as well, or is it just that you're naturally musical and I'm not?
Okay, definitely not that.
It might be that.
I mean, for me, like speaking on piano, like piano's for sure what I have stronger theory on. Like I could solo on a piano. I could not solo on my acoustic guitar by any means. Like I have a pretty basic understanding of how to get around, but because I had the theory from piano, I can kind of apply it to like the notes on guitar, but I'm definitely not, you know, tracking a solo in a session by any means. I'm usually just kind of strumming and chording, but yeah, so definitely the learning curve to guitar for me was very weird. And I haven't really advanced past just like
it's so hard.
Yeah.
Like I find, I mean, I started playing piano when I was 4, so it comes kind of natural to me. I'm not playing for anybody. Let's just start with that. But
oh, I think you are now that you announced that.
But like I understand chords. So like on the guitar, I get the chords, but as soon as it comes to like individual notes and like my brain does not compute. I don't know.
Yeah, I think piano is a smarter instrument for like doing individual note stuff, because it's just so like easy to see where they are. Where like on guitar, I'm like, yeah, like you can play the same note like in 5 different places, like,
and then trying to get your finger into an F quickly, no thanks.
Bar chords are always the deadly ones that everyone hates. I always find that funny, but it's true. Like it's definitely, I found it was a learning curve, and I'm not really qualified to speak on being good at guitar because I'm just like a functional guitar player, but I found piano more accessible for sure.
Said the hired guitar player.
I am hired. Okay, I'm hired to play acoustic guitar, like strumming and do some like pretty basic like finger picking stuff. I definitely would have said no if they're like, hey, like you're gonna solo on this instrument. I'm like, I'll never be good enough in time, but thank you.
You know what? I'm good. Thank you so much. Is there any instrument you would like to learn or wish you learned? Because my family didn't put me in music at all when I was a kid. I only played sports, and I was like, this would come in handy.
What do you want to play, Jenna, first?
Well, I wanted to play the piano, and then my grandma tried to show me, but she doesn't know either. She just does it.
Yeah. Oh.
It's really annoying. It's really annoying.
You're like, I can't learn from you, Grandma.
She's like, I literally can't teach you. She also can listen and just play.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Just a little bit Charlie Poothy, just a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to play guitar, and I was like, I can't focus long enough to do that. Like, I can't focus on like driving standard. I can't do that either because I'm not going to be able to focus.
That's important for driving in general.
For everyone else's
fair.
safety. So yeah, I'm not learning any instruments. I learned the recorder in school. That was it.
I mean, that's a gem of an instrument, if I do say so myself.
Not when it's 30 kids in grade 3 playing it.
Those are sacred times. I don't know what you're talking about.
What a pain.
Oh my God.
Anyways, is there any instrument you would like to learn or I wish you learned?
I mean, I always wanted to learn fiddle since I ever got into country.
Ooh,
I feel like that would be something that would be
that'd be killer.
Yeah, I just think it'd be cool to be able to like sing and fiddle like at the same time.
Mackenzie Porter does
like
that.
Mackenzie Porter, I've seen her do that, and it's just it's an easy instrument for a front person to kind of sing and then play, and like that to me, I just think it's cool. And yeah, I don't know, like that. I wish I had been more country growing up, so that might have kind of like come up like while I was a kid, and you're like very impressionable and you can learn stuff easily. And but now I'm like fiddle, like that has a hard learning curve because it's just like for me, I just don't have any of the skills to like make that go. And nowadays I don't have the time. But if I ever do, I'm like, maybe I'll try and do that because that instrument is cool.
It is cool. Also, when you're a child, you don't appreciate any of those things. But like my first concert was the Leighys. I saw the Leahy family. My mom used to tap dance or step dance, whatever. And one of their sons played fiddle, and they would do it everywhere in our county. They were a little duo. And she was like, you need to come see the Leahys play. And they danced and they played fiddle. And so that was my first concert. But I tell people it was Hilary Duff because that was my second concert.
Yeah, because I'm sure you'll be like, who are the Leahys?
Literally.
Yeah, that's cool though. Oh my gosh. I know. I don't know if you ever knew the Fitzgeralds, but I went to school with one of them, and same thing, like this like family fiddling band, and like you never realize how involved that community is with that music, with like the stepping and the and it's like so impressive to watch the shows and have them do.
It's entertaining.
It is, you know, and you never, because it's usually, at least from what I've seen, like instrumental music, it's not so much lyric, and so there's not something that someone with no music knowledge can like grab onto, like a lyric. So they have to be entertaining if you're not used to the music. So they're great shows. Yeah. So that's very cool.
Really cool, eh? I remember just watching like a 6-year-old like dancing, and then all of a sudden just like picking up a little fiddle and doing it at the same time. And I was like, what am I here for? I need a purpose in life. I can't do that.
I feel the same way. You always see those like internet videos of like young kids just like virtuosic at whatever they're doing. I know. I'm like, why am I alive?
It's like, screw you, child.
I'm so mediocre. Oh my gosh.
Here we are, alive and thriving.
We're alive. Some days I don't know if we're thriving.
Okay, here we are, alive.
Alive and being.
There we go.
Okay, before we come to the end here, I've heard we were teasing a little bit before, but you are working on your next single, hopefully to come out.
I am.
And I've heard it live, and I think it's hilarious.
Oh, thank you.
I don't know if Logan, you've heard it, but why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
I must have heard it because I've seen you perform not too long ago.
Probably. I usually try and get it into all my sets now because it's my song right before I do Thunderstruck, because I kind of like set it up to go into that. Yeah. So if you've seen Thunderstruck, which obviously that's a song people recognize right away, then you've probably seen this one, which is called House Husband. It definitely is going to continue with that like satire vibe for, I guess, what my kind of brand is now, where it's like cheeky. I definitely cheeky. Wanted good. Okay. I'm glad you think so. It doesn't come across as, preachy, which is the last thing I want.
Not at all.
For music. Okay, great. But yeah, I definitely wanted like a Honey, I'm Home vibe. And I heard someone use the term house husband one time, and I just thought that was like such a fun way to like a fun thing to like kind of like include as like a song. And I'm like, yeah, like why not? So yeah, I'm excited to be putting that one out soon.
Possibly today.
Possibly.
It's possibly already out.
Depending on the timing of this podcast, possibly in this window.
It'll make great promo regardless.
It's true. So it'll be out sometime.
Are you working on you are like pretty involved in the visual of your work too, right? So are you working on something cool for this? Yeah.
You know what?
You're
I
not.
got this idea. No.
Okay. I was gonna be like, no, I handed it over this time around.
You know,
really set me up.
I mean, yeah. You know what? No, there's no formal plan. Kind of like I like working with AJ from Roadhouse. He's obviously, as we're filming this podcast, on tour with Bailey Zimmerman, kind of doing the video for them. So
he's a little tied up.
I haven't seen him in a while, but I know he's back soon, and so I'm hoping to reach out with him. Yeah. Gonna be like, hey man, you're back in Canada, great, I got all this stuff I want. No, I'm gonna definitely steal him for this music video, and I really want, I'll cheat it because we'll air out the idea and you guys tell me if you think it's funny, and if it's not, then we'll just cut this part out of the podcast. No.
Great.
So nobody know.
But I really want it to be like a joking, like a polyandrous situation where I'm like this gal and I have this like group of house husbands.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
who
like
are just
it.
like serving hand and feet.
Yes.
Totally joking. Everyone that's listening, that is not my dream life, but I just think
it is very funny, and it automatically puts a visual in your head to like the song House Husband.
Yeah, and it's like that to me. Like I like using music videos to communicate humor, because obviously if you find the video entertaining, you're going to listen to the whole song. So
yep.
I'm like, hey, like this is kind of my idea. Hopefully it comes to fruition that way. But yes, if that's a cool idea, I'm gonna roll with it.
Yes.
I don't know why. Okay, this is probably really
somebody
stupid.
needs to be your footstool.
Absolutely. They can paint my toenails too.
This song, like the song that I'm thinking of in the music video that just popped into my head is, I can't believe I didn't even know this song. MILF Money by Fergie.
Pardon?
No one's heard this song? Oh my God.
Oh
you have to go watch the music video for MILF Money. It is basically like kind of that, but not really.
Yeah.
Like it's mostly all housewives.
Yeah,
you should go. It's a terrible song. And it's not a great music video either.
I was like, I've never heard of that dude
but
before.
It's quite funny.
Oh my God, I'm gonna go steal ideas for sure. I definitely have been like looking at like X's and O's by Elle King as that one.
Oh, great song.
Where there's like, you know, all these like oiled up dudes like fanning her, and she's like just sitting in this chair. And I'm definitely gonna make the house husbands wear those like fake like muscle shirts. Those like t-shirts with
t-shirt
the like,
ones. Yep.
Yeah. Obviously,
you should make
like
them wear bikini ones instead, though.
Ooh. Just like really, really push the dynamic.
Yeah, all the way.
Oh my God. Okay. Well, okay. I'm gonna make them wear bikinis instead. That would be a perfect thing.
That's so funny.
If the my kind friends who I'm definitely gonna rope into doing this video for me will do that, then I will absolutely enforce that.
Hey, if they don't do it, not your friends.
Wow, exactly. I'll peer pressure them. I was gonna say gaslight, but it's not quite there. But maybe I could just gaslight them into
get Jenna on them because she's been practicing.
I'm so good at it. So we're not friends, so you won't do this one small thing for me. I feel like I've done a lot for you, and this doesn't feel like a tall ask.
You're hired. You're hired.
I will negotiate. I mean, gaslight them into doing it, no problem.
Amazing.
Speaking of music videos and doing things for your friends, I just watched Nicole Ray's music video for How Did You Get in the Mud?
Oh my.
Wait, maybe describe what you're actually saying, Jenna, here first. Sorry. Finish the sentence.
Nicole Ray's music video for Dirty. I didn't even say that, yeah. So Nicole's video came out a couple weeks ago, and you are featured in a mud fight.
I am.
That is one of those things.
That's definitely that was the surprise of the day. I knew, like, I was like, hey, like, I definitely want to help out with this video, because obviously, as all of us go through, like, sometimes we need people at videos, and it's us helping each other out. And she's like, hey, like, can you like bring a bathing suit? Like, we might need some like extras for this like one scene.
Extras? Like, you were the main one.
And originally, and then like some stuff kind of fell through, like stuff always does on days like that. And she's like, "Hey, like, can you like be the bride?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." I'm like, wish I thrown on like a little bit of makeup or something, but here we are doing some mud wrestling, and that mud was so cold. Like we're on like it's for the bit, but we're on like a farm, right? So they're sourcing water from like, I don't know, like. You're not like, it's not like hot water from inside by any means. So it's just like this like that muddy
hose.
Did you get sick after? Because
water.
that looked gross.
No, it was a hot day. So at least there was like that
okay.
like, making it better. But no, I did. Maybe the hose off after was definitely chilly because obviously like the sun's like going down and you're like, oh, well, I'm covered in mud now. So I guess I gotta get this mud off of me outside before I go like inside and ruin someone's total, facilities or whatever. But no, like it was so fun doing that. Like I'm happy that I got to be a part of that in that way. And yep. And now for anyone who wants to watch me mud wrestle on the internet, it's up there. Can't hide that one.
And she will be casting as much or for more mud fights near you. I feel like there might be a gross place on the internet for that though, so maybe not.
It could be a new side hustle, depending, but you're right. There's definitely some holes on the internet that I'll try and steer out of. But
good idea.
That's one of them. That's definitely one of them.
Woo!
Well, my friend, thank you so much for joining us. It's been an absolute
Hilarious.
pleasure.
Well, thank you guys for having me. It's obviously so nice to get to chat with you and hang out, if you will, in our little meeting here.
Our little Zoom porch.
Our Zoom porch.
And everyone listening, be sure to check out Mackenzie Leigh Meyer, like Oscar Mayer.
Yes.
Yeah, she's funny and cool.
She's funny and cool. Yeah.
And watch out for House Husband.
Yeah.
And get yourself 1 or 4.
Heck yeah.
Thanks for listening to another episode of On the Porch with Front Porch Music. We're so lucky to be able to chat with artists and make episodes like this one. If you like the podcast, remember to rate and review us, and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. It's the easiest way to support the show. Remember to check out frontporchmusic.ca to keep up with new music releases, exclusive artist interviews, and more. We'll catch you again on the porch in a couple of weeks. On the Porch is hosted by Logan Miller and Jenna Weiser, and produced and edited by Jason Saunders. That's me. Our theme song was written, produced, and performed by Owen Ridley.
Yeah. All I can smell is onions on my shirt because I was cooking dinner before this, and I was like, it's hot. Everything else just like sticks to you.
Thieves. Yeah.
I smell like food, and I hate smelling like food. Disgusting.
Yeah, that'll do it. Onions, hard to escape that one.
But my fingers don't smell like onions, which is really odd because I also cut them.
Right. Oh my god, that's so weird. Well,
anyways.
At least we know you wash your hands really good.
Riveting conversation about Jenna's hygiene.
But I smell like onions.
Here's our intro.
No, please don't. Okay. Anyways, let's
Jason,
talk about...
when you're editing this, find out how to use this audio somehow.
No, don't, or you're fired. He's not fired ever.
Yeah.
We literally never mind, actually. I don't want him to hear how highly we think of him.
That's so rude.